True confidence isn't found in the loudest voice echoing through the room. It isn't discovered in theatrical displays of ego, desperate hunts for validation, or exhausting attempts to convince others of your significance. Authentic confidence exists in stillness. It lives in unwavering composure. It's that magnetic force that draws every eye without you uttering a single word of demand. And the most formidable expression of this power emerges when absolutely nothing rattles your core, nothing triggers your defenses, and nothing holds dominion over your choices. The majority of humanity stumbles through existence in perpetual reaction mode, slaves to criticism, rejection, disorder, and the shifting winds of public opinion. Each reflexive response bleeds away fragments of their personal authority, but the moment you master the art of non-reaction, you reclaim every ounce of that stolen energy. You transform into something untouchable. You navigate reality with a presence so rare and potent it borders on dangerous, the kind of self-assurance that defies imitation. Throughout this transformative experience, we'll dissect precisely how to construct this caliber of confidence. You'll master the elimination of paralyzing self-doubt, the regulation of volatile emotions, the liberation from outcome dependency, and the cultivation of a presence that radiates the energy of someone who requires nothing and trembles before nothing. Every segment delivers actionable strategies and eternal wisdom that, when implemented, will revolutionize not merely your internal experience, but the entire way existence responds to your presence. This isn't theatrical performance. This is fundamental transformation. So draw in a profound breath, silence the mental chaos, and steel yourself to embody the most formidable iteration of who you're capable of becoming. We're diving in. Stop justifying your existence. Among the quickest methods people hemorrhage their confidence is through relentless self-explanation. Consider this carefully. How frequently have you discovered yourself constructing elaborate, unnecessary justifications simply to dodge judgment? Perhaps tardiness triggered a 5-minute dissertation about traffic nightmares, malfunctioning alarms, or dead batteries instead of a simple acknowledgement. Or maybe someone challenged your decision and you felt compelled to dissect every microscopic detail just to achieve their understanding. Here's the unvarnished reality. Confident individuals reject this pattern entirely. They don't operate from a default position of apology. They refuse to scramble proving themselves to everyone breathing. The reason? They recognize their inherent value isn't subject to committee review. The instant you cease explaining yourself, you radiate immediate strength. Your statements gain substantial weight. Your presence commands genuine respect. Now, I'm not advocating rudeness or dismissiveness. This isn't arrogance territory. This concerns understanding precisely when brevity, clarity, and firmness serve you best. Rather than defending every single move, you develop the capacity to own your choices completely. When someone questions your direction, you don't need an exhaustive dissertation. A simple, assured response does the heavy lifting. Consider the raw power emanating from someone who states, "This choice aligns with my values." and then goes silent. Zero over-explanation, zero backpedaling, pure unshakable certainty. That's confidence in motion. Every unnecessary explanation broadcasts a silent transmission. I desperately need your approval to function. But each time you keep it concise and allow your decision to stand independently, you transmit something far more powerful. Your permission is irrelevant to me. Here's your immediate challenge for the coming 7 days. Become vigilant. Catch yourself mid-excuse piling or launching into marathon explanations. Stop cold. Replace those habits with something stripped down, solid, and direct. I'm unavailable. This is my direction. That doesn't serve me. Then embrace the silence. Allow that void to carry the weight of your conviction. Initially, discomfort will flood through you. The compulsion to fill empty space, to rationalize, to cushion your words will feel overwhelming. But through consistent practice, you'll uncover something revolutionary. The less you explain, the more powerful you become. People start taking you seriously, and crucially, you start taking yourself seriously. Dangerous confidence initiates with this deceptively simple, yet monumentally powerful adjustment. Stop explaining, stop over-justifying, trust your decisions implicitly, stand behind your statements. Because the precise moment you no longer feel obligated to explain yourself to everyone becomes the exact moment you've taken your first stride toward becoming completely untouchable. Master the voice within. If genuine dangerous confidence is your target, you must begin with the voice that speaks most frequently to you, the internal narrator residing inside your skull. That voice functions either as your most devastating weapon or your most destructive adversary. It's constructing your foundation or demolishing it brick by brick. And here's what most never grasp. The dialogue you maintain with yourself privately eventually manifests in how you present yourself publicly. Think deeply about this. If your internal narrator constantly broadcasts, "I'm inadequate, I sabotage everything, everyone's probably criticizing me," how exactly will you behave entering any space? Anxious, tentative, diminished. But if that same voice declares, "I'm equipped for this, I've conquered harder challenges, I'm positioned exactly where I belong," you enter that identical room transformed, taller, steadier, sharper, identical human being, different narrative. And that distinction alters absolutely everything. Confidence doesn't originate in applause, accomplishments, or external attention. It ignites within your consciousness. It begins with the language you permit to reverberate inside your mind. You cannot control every external voice speaking about you, but you maintain absolute control over what you repeat to yourself daily. The critical error people commit is postponing self-validation until life provides external proof. They believe once success arrives, confidence will follow. Once respect materializes, I'll speak kindly to myself, but the mechanism operates in reverse. You don't wait for evidence. You manufacture evidence. You initiate speaking to yourself like someone deserving profound respect. Then your actions begin aligning with that conviction. The secret revealed. Your brain accepts repetition as truth. Whatever you consistently repeat to yourself crystallizes into your reality. Declare yourself weak sufficiently long, and you'll contract into that weakness. Declare yourself capable, resilient, and composed sufficiently long, and you'll expand to embody those qualities. Your internal voice operates like a thermostat, establishing the temperature of your confidence. Set it low, and you'll perpetually sink downward regardless of external achievements. Set it high, and you'll transcend obstacles because you fundamentally believe you belong at that elevation. So, how do you dominate this internal narrator? Start by catching it in action. Monitor the quiet statements you whisper throughout your day. When mistakes happen, do you say, "I'm completely idiotic," or "That's fine, I'll execute better next time"? Confronting your reflection, do you catalog every imperfection, or remind yourself you're showing up, evolving, and inherently worthy? These microscopic moments shape your entire existence. The objective isn't manufactured positivity. You don't tell yourself you're flawless. Dangerous confidence isn't self-deception. It's speaking with strength even when circumstances aren't perfect. It's selecting language that builds rather than demolishes. For instance, instead of "I can't manage this," you declare, "This is challenging, but I'll solve it." Instead of "I always fail," you state, "Every setback delivers lessons that forge me stronger." When you start directing your internal voice instead of letting it run rampant, you'll notice something extraordinary. You'll stop reacting so harshly to difficulties, criticism, and rejection. Why? Because your mind has trained itself to support you. It becomes your most powerful ally instead of your cruelest critic. Let me offer you a challenge. For the next 30 days, every single morning, verbalize 3 statements out loud. "I respect myself deeply. I can handle anything today." Presence. "I don't require anyone's approval to advance." It might feel strange initially, but repeat those declarations daily and observe how your body starts embodying them. Watch your energy transform in conversations. Watch yourself enter situations completely differently. Your internal voice is the foundation supporting your confidence. Master it, and you won't merely appear confident. You'll feel it penetrating your bones. And once that feeling takes root, nobody can extract it from you. Because here's the truth: confidence isn't what materializes when others believe in you. Confidence is what manifests when you believe in yourself first, and that belief originates with the voice inside your head. Build respect before chasing confidence. Every form of enduring confidence originates from one elementary truth: you cannot experience genuine power if you don't respect yourself first. Respect is the foundation. Without it, confidence becomes nothing beyond performance, a mask concealing persistent uncertainty. But when you construct authentic self-respect, confidence stops being an act and transforms into your identity. Think about how you treat people you genuinely respect. You listen attentively, you value their time, you trust their judgment. Now ask yourself with brutal honesty, do you extend yourself that same treatment? Or do you tear yourself down with harsh criticism, neglect your needs, and permit others to violate your boundaries because fundamentally you don't view yourself as worthy. The undeniable truth, how you treat yourself, establishes the standard for how the world treats you. If you disrespect your own time, others will mirror that. If you speak destructively to yourself, you'll tolerate others doing the same. But when you start demonstrating self-respect, when you hold yourself to elevated standards, people sense it immediately. They respond differently, and that's where dangerous confidence begins taking shape. Self-respect doesn't emerge from major achievements. It flows from small daily choices telegraphing to your mind, "I matter." Keeping promises to yourself, following through when you commit, refusing to settle for situations contradicting your values. Each respectful act you show yourself builds internal fortitude. When you rise early because you committed to it, that's respect. When you exit toxic conversations instead of seeking approval, that's respect. When you establish a boundary and defend it, that's respect. Each individual choice might seem insignificant externally, but collectively they forge that deep, unshakable sensation that you can trust yourself. And once self-trust solidifies, confidence flows organically. Here's the fundamental key: respect yourself first, and reality has no option but to adjust accordingly. You no longer beg for recognition. You no longer explain or prove your value. You know it, and because you know it, others perceive it. So, if enduring confidence is your goal, don't start with hollow pep talks. Start with respect. Start with how you address yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you hold yourself to higher standards. Confidence without respect is hollow, but respect practiced daily will eventually overflow into confidence so formidable it cannot be shattered. And once you've built that, nobody can take it away. Kill the approval addiction. Among the most devastating traps draining confidence is the relentless craving for validation. You understand exactly what I mean. That persistent itch questioning, do they approve of me? Do they agree? Am I adequate in their estimation? It's subtle, yet it controls countless lives completely. They dress not for themselves, but for potential commentary. They post online not to share, but to be validated. They chase compliments, dodge criticism, and feel devastated when applause doesn't materialize. Here's the fundamental problem. When your confidence depends on external approval, it will perpetually remain fragile because approval can be granted and approval can be revoked. One moment they're celebrating you, the next they're condemning you. And if your self-worth fluctuates with their reactions, you'll live like a marionette controlled by strings you can't see, let alone control. The reality: nobody owes you approval, and nobody's opinion should possess the authority to define you. When you obliterate the need for approval, you liberate yourself completely. You stop chasing applause and start focusing on authentic living. You stop contorting your life to satisfy others' expectations and start building a life that resonates with your truth. That's where dangerous confidence originates. Consider the people you genuinely admire. Are they the ones attempting to please everyone, or the ones standing firm despite disagreement? Always the latter, because genuine strength isn't found in universal likability. It's found in earning respect for maintaining your truth. Now, absolute clarity. There's nothing wrong with enjoying praise. There's nothing wrong with appreciating recognition. The problem emerges when you need it, when you depend on it to feel valuable. The moment dependency takes root, you surrender your power. You hand strangers the remote control to your emotions. And let me tell you, people change channels rapidly. So how do you kill this addiction? Start small. Practice saying no without lengthy explanations. Practice making decisions based on what you know serves you, even when others won't comprehend. Remind yourself daily, their approval is optional, my self-respect is not. You'll notice something powerful when you stop chasing approval. Initially, some people won't appreciate it. They might label you arrogant, selfish, or inflexible, but remain steady, because eventually those same people will respect you far more than they did when you bent for their acceptance. Why? Because people might enjoy watching you seek their approval, but they admire those who don't need it. Dangerous confidence is born when you enter any space not wondering, will they like me? Instead, you think, do I respect how I'm showing up here? That shift changes everything. It removes you from the performer role and positions you as a leader. The world doesn't need another person begging for likes, chasing applause, or waiting for permission. The world respects the person who doesn't need any of it, the one who advances with or without approval, the one who lives as though they already possess everything they need internally. And that can be you. The day you stop chasing approval, you step into unprecedented freedom. You stop reacting to every comment, every glance, every fragment of criticism. You start living on your terms. That's when people notice you, not because you demand it, but because they cannot ignore someone who doesn't need their validation. And that right there is dangerous confidence. Respond with silence, not raw emotion. Among the greatest indicators of confidence is not how loudly you can speak, but how quietly you can remain. Most people believe strength means having the final word, demonstrating their intelligence or wit. But authentic strength is often the opposite. It's the capacity to remain calm, stay silent, and refuse being dragged into every emotional battlefield. Consider this carefully. How often do people forfeit their power because they couldn't stay quiet? Someone criticizes them, and they snap back immediately. Someone disrespects them, and they detonate. Someone challenges them, and they rush to defend themselves. In that moment, they believe they're displaying strength, but they're actually revealing their emotions control them. And when emotions control you, your power evaporates. Silence, conversely, is disarming. It's unsettling. When people anticipate a reaction and receive nothing, they're lost. They push, and you don't budge. They attack, and you stay steady. That's what makes silence devastatingly powerful. It demonstrates you aren't easily shaken, that you cannot be manipulated. Now, absolute clarity. Silence doesn't equal weakness. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means choosing your responses deliberately. It means refusing to squander energy on meaningless battles. When you respond with silence instead of raw emotion, you buy yourself thinking time. You create space to determine, if the situation even deserves your attention. Imagine someone attempting to provoke you. Maybe they insult you publicly, expecting an explosion. Most people would take the bait instantly. But if you remain calm, if you look at them and simply choose silence, suddenly the spotlight shifts. They start looking foolish, not you. Why? Because you've demonstrated their words didn't penetrate. You've shown you're in complete control. There's another dimension to this. Silence not only protects your power, it amplifies your words when you finally choose to speak. If you speak less but with calm authority, people listen. They recognize you don't waste words. They know if you're speaking, it matters. That's how leaders communicate. That's how confident people operate. So how can you practice this? Start by identifying your triggers. Notice the moments when you feel emotions boiling over. When someone criticizes you, when they disagree, when they mock. That's the moment to pause. Don't rush to react. Breathe. Let silence do the heavy lifting for you. 9 times out of 10, you'll realize you don't even need to respond. And in those rare instances you do, your response will come from strength, not impulse. You don't owe everyone a reaction. You don't need to defend yourself every time someone questions you. You don't need to fight every small battle. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing at all. Silence isn't empty. It's saturated with power. Think about how this transforms others' perception of you. The person who reacts emotionally is predictable, easily controlled. But the person who can stay silent, calm, and unbothered, that person is dangerous because you can't manipulate them. You can't penetrate their composure. You can't break their focus. Dangerous confidence isn't shouting louder than others. It's standing tall while others shout at you and you don't flinch. It's choosing silence when others expect a storm. It's showing that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone else. The next time someone tries dragging you into their drama, remember this: silence is your shield. Silence is your strength, and silence is your power. Use it, and you'll discover just how unshakable you truly are. Let your body speak first. Before you ever open your mouth, your body is already broadcasting who you are. People observe how you walk, how you stand, how you sit, how you meet their gaze, and within mere seconds, they've already formed an opinion long before you've spoken a single word. That's the silent language of confidence, and it's often more powerful than anything you could ever verbalize. Here's the unvarnished truth: if your words and your body language contradict each other, people will always believe your body. You can say, "I'm confident," but if you're slouched over, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting nervously, nobody believes it. Conversely, you could say very little, but if your posture is strong, your eyes steady, your movements calm, people feel your presence radiating. So, what does it mean to let your body speak first? It means you enter any room like you belong there. It means you stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, head held high, not in arrogance, but in quiet certainty. It means your handshake is firm, not rushed. It means you make eye contact without flinching, without darting away, without apologizing for being seen. Think about the people you naturally respect when they enter. They don't need to announce themselves. They don't need to prove anything. Their presence says it all. That's not coincidental. That's body language at work. Your body is always training your mind too. If you sit small, you feel small. If you carry yourself like you're hiding, your mind starts believing you should hide. But if you sit upright, if you expand your posture, if you move with purpose, your mind receives the message. I am strong, I am steady, I belong here. The mind and body are connected, and if you want confidence, sometimes the fastest route to shift your mind is shifting your body first. Now, don't mistake this for acting or pretending. This isn't about faking who you are. It's about removing the signals that sabotage you. It's about cutting out habits that make you look uncertain. The hunched shoulders, the nervous fidgeting, the darting eyes. Those small habits send silent messages you don't even notice, but others pick up immediately. And once you cut them, you start carrying yourself differently. Here's a practical strategy. The next time you enter a room, pause at the threshold, take one calm breath, straighten your posture, roll your shoulders back, lift your head slightly, and then walk in at a steady pace. No rush, no hurry, just presence. That single adjustment transforms how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Another strategy, practice holding eye contact, not in a creepy, overbearing way, but in a calm, steady way that says, I see you and I'm comfortable being seen. Most people break eye contact too quickly because they feel insecure. Train yourself to hold it just 1 second longer. That second communicates confidence without a word. When your body speaks confidence, you don't need to oversell yourself. You don't need to push too hard to be noticed. People simply feel it. And here's the secret. When they feel it, they treat you differently. They listen more carefully. They respect your space. They trust your words more. Dangerous confidence is not about shouting louder. It's about walking into a space with such quiet certainty that people cannot ignore you, even if you never raise your voice. Your body tells the story before your mouth ever does, so let your body speak first. Train it to send the right message. Walk tall, sit steady, look people in the eye, move with intention. Because when your body communicates strength, your words only need to confirm what people already believe, that you are someone worth listening to. Stop reacting, start leading. Most people live their entire lives in reaction mode. Something happens and they respond. Someone criticizes them and they defend themselves. Someone disrespects them and they snap back. Someone praises them and suddenly they feel valuable. They're constantly at the mercy of whatever comes their way. That's not confidence. That's dependency. And as long as you're reacting, you're not leading. Think about it deeply. The person who reacts is always one step behind. They're letting the world dictate their mood, their energy, their choices. But the person who leads, they set the tone, they decide the direction. They don't wait to see what happens before they act. They create what happens. That's the difference between living as a follower of circumstance and living as the leader of your own life. Here's the harsh truth. When you react to everything, people learn how to control you. They push your buttons and you respond right on cue. They know what words will make you angry, what actions will make you defensive, what silence will make you insecure. But when you stop reacting, when you stay calm and steady, suddenly those same people lose their grip. They can't manipulate you anymore. That's where confidence begins to look dangerous, because you become untouchable. Leading doesn't always mean leading others. It starts with leading yourself. It means choosing your actions instead of letting them be chosen for you. It means setting the pace instead of trying to keep up with someone else's. It means asking yourself, what do I want to create here? Instead of how should I respond to what just happened? Let's make this practical. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone challenges your idea. The reactive person defends themselves immediately, sometimes even with anger. The leader pauses, listens, and calmly responds with clarity, or sometimes chooses not to respond at all, but to redirect the conversation back to the bigger picture. That single choice shifts the entire energy of the room. Or consider relationships. When you're reacting, you're constantly adjusting to someone else's moods. If they're upset, you're upset. If they're happy, you're happy. But when you lead, you set the emotional tone. You stay steady regardless of their fluctuations, and often they follow your calm instead of you following their chaos. Leadership is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself so completely that you influence everything around you. People naturally follow those who are steady, who are clear, who are not tossed around by every little wave. And you don't need a title, a position, or a spotlight to be that person. You just need discipline over yourself. So, how do you shift from reacting to leading? Start by slowing down. Don't give your emotions the driver's seat. Pause before you respond. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want here, and how can I create it? That 1 second of thought can completely change your direction. Next, set intentions before situations even unfold. If you're about to walk into a stressful environment, decide in advance, I will remain calm. I will speak clearly. I will not let anyone push me off balance. When you enter with that mindset, you lead the situation instead of reacting to it. And finally, remember this, leading isn't about proving yourself. It's about owning yourself. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to control every detail. You just have to control you. That calm, centered control is magnetic. People can feel it. They start looking to you without you ever asking for it. Dangerous confidence is born when you stop giving the world the power to dictate your actions. When you stop reacting to everything and start leading with intention, you rise above the noise. You stop playing defense and start directing the game. And once you make that shift, you're no longer at the mercy of life. Life is at the mercy of you. Embrace discomfort until it feels normal. Confidence is never built in comfort zones. It's forged in the uncomfortable places most people desperately try to avoid. Think about it. The moments that made you stronger were never the easy ones. They were the ones where you felt nervous, unprepared, maybe even terrified, but you stepped forward anyway. That's where growth lives. That's where dangerous confidence is born. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort. They choose what feels safe, what feels familiar, what doesn't stretch them too much. But the problem with that approach is elementary. If you always choose comfort, you never expand. You stay the same, you play small, and deep down, you know it. That's why so many people secretly feel insecure, because their lives have no proof of their own strength. Confidence is not about telling yourself you're strong. It's about putting yourself in situations that prove you are. When you embrace discomfort, you collect evidence. Every time you step into the unknown, every time you do something that scares you slightly, you walk away with proof. I can handle this. And the more proof you gather, the more unshakable you become. Here's the secret: discomfort doesn't disappear. You never reach a point where life stops testing you, but you can train yourself to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the shift. Instead of viewing discomfort as danger, you start viewing it as training. Instead of running from it, you lean into it. And soon, what used to terrify you feels normal. Think about the first time you tried something new, maybe speaking in front of a group, starting a project, or walking into a room full of strangers. You probably felt nervous, maybe even shaky, but if you kept doing it, the fear faded. It became easier. Why? Because repetition rewires your brain. What once felt impossible becomes routine. That's the power of embracing discomfort. So, how do you start? Begin small. Push yourself into situations that stretch you just beyond your comfort zone. Speak up in a meeting when you'd normally stay quiet. Strike up a conversation when you'd normally avoid it. Take on a challenge you'd usually decline. Every little push builds your capacity. Then go bigger. Take on goals that scare you, not because you might fail, but because they'll force you to grow. The gym teaches this principle brilliantly. If you only lift what's easy, you never build muscle. The growth happens when you pick up something heavy, when your body shakes, when you feel the strain. Life works identically. Your mental and emotional muscles only grow under resistance. And here's what's beautiful. The more you embrace discomfort, the more resilient you become. You stop being afraid of failure because you faced it before. You stop avoiding challenges because you've proven you can rise through them. You stop doubting yourself because you have evidence that you can survive what others can't. That's the root of confidence, not words, but lived experience. So, the next time you feel fear creeping in, pause and reframe it. Instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," tell yourself, "This is where I get stronger." That simple shift changes everything. Suddenly, discomfort is not the enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Dangerous confidence is not about living an easy life. It's about living a life that constantly stretches you, constantly grows you, constantly reminds you of your own power. Embrace discomfort, seek it, live in it until it feels normal, because once you do, nothing the world throws at you will ever feel too big. You'll have trained yourself to thrive where others retreat, and that's when people begin to notice that quiet, steady power in you, the kind of confidence that cannot be broken. Speak less, command more. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people in any room are usually the quietest? They don't rush to fill every silence. They don't try to dominate conversations with endless words. Instead, they wait, they listen, and when they finally speak, everyone leans in. That is not coincidental. That is confidence. Most people talk excessively because they're uncomfortable with silence. They're afraid if they don't keep speaking, they'll lose attention, or worse, they'll be forgotten. So they pile on words, explanations, and stories, hoping to convince people of their worth. But here's the reality. The more you talk without purpose, the weaker your words become. Confidence is not about how much you say. It's about how much weight your words carry. And the way to give your words weight is simple. Speak less, mean more. Every sentence should have intention. Every response should have calmness. Every pause should remind people that you're not rushed, not desperate, not trying too hard. Think about this. When someone speaks constantly, people tune them out. But when someone holds back, speaks only when it matters, people pay attention. Silence builds anticipation. Few words delivered with clarity build authority. That's why leaders, authentic leaders, are never chatterboxes. They don't waste energy trying to be heard. They conserve energy and use their words like a sharp blade, precise, direct, effective. So how can you practice this? First, slow down. Don't rush to answer every question immediately. Give yourself a moment. That pause alone communicates confidence. It shows you're not scrambling for approval. You're choosing your response carefully. Second, trim the excess. Instead of long explanations, give simple, strong statements. Yes, no, that works for me. Short, clear, and firm. People respect that. Here's the other secret. Listening makes you more powerful than speaking. Most people listen only to reply. Confident people listen to understand. When you really hear someone, you gather information. You understand their motives, their fears, their strengths. And when you finally respond, your words are sharper because they're rooted in understanding. That makes you stand out instantly. Think about conversations you've had with people who barely let you finish a sentence. Didn't it feel like they were trying too hard? Now think about someone who looked you in the eye, listened without interruption, and then gave you a short but meaningful response. Which one felt more powerful? Always the second, because listening is a sign of control, and control commands respect. Of course, this doesn't mean you should become silent all the time. Confidence is not about withholding your voice completely. It's about balance. Speak when it matters. Stay quiet when it doesn't. Make silence your ally instead of your enemy. There's another layer here. When you speak less, you give others space to reveal themselves. People often expose their insecurities, their weaknesses, their intentions when you just let them keep talking. Meanwhile, you stay calm, observant, and in control. That's an advantage most people miss because they're too busy trying to be heard. So here's your challenge. Over the next few days, practice cutting your words in half. When you're tempted to explain yourself, shorten it. When you're tempted to fill silence, hold it. When you feel the urge to prove something with words, stop and let your presence do the talking. You'll notice something powerful happen. People will start leaning in. They'll start asking for your opinion instead of ignoring it. They'll respect your words more because you don't throw them around carelessly. And most importantly, you'll feel a deeper sense of control because you no longer speak out of insecurity, but out of choice. Dangerous confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't ramble, it doesn't beg to be heard. It speaks less but commands more. And once you master that, you'll discover that silence combined with the right words at the right time is one of the most powerful tools you'll ever possess. Turn rejection into power. Rejection, just the word, makes most people recoil. Nobody likes hearing no. Nobody enjoys being turned down, overlooked, or pushed aside. But here's the truth. Rejection is one of the most powerful tools for building confidence if you learn how to use it. The difference between people who crumble under rejection and people who rise from it is simple: perspective. Most people take rejection personally. They hear no and think it means I'm inadequate, I'll never succeed, I should quit. They attach rejection to their identity instead of seeing it for what it really is: feedback, a redirection, a test, a moment designed to make them stronger, not smaller. Think about this. Some of the most successful, confident people in history faced rejection repeatedly. Authors had their books rejected by dozens of publishers before becoming bestsellers. Entrepreneurs had their ideas laughed at before creating billion-dollar companies. Athletes were cut from teams before becoming legends. The rejection didn't destroy them, it built them. It toughened their skin, it forced them to sharpen their skills, it fueled their drive. That's what you have to train yourself to see. Rejection is not the end of your path. It's the sharpening stone for your confidence. Every no you face is an opportunity to grow more resilient, more determined, more dangerous in your certainty. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop asking why me, and start asking what can I take from this? Did rejection reveal a weakness you need to work on? Did it push you to try a different approach? Did it expose people or places that were never truly for you in the first place? Every rejection carries a lesson if you're willing to listen. And let's be honest, rejection stings because it pokes at our pride. It makes us feel exposed, but that sting is exactly what makes it powerful. It wakes you up. It pushes you to toughen up. You can't build real confidence in a world where everyone always says yes to you. That would only give you fragile confidence, the kind that shatters the first time life tells you no. Dangerous confidence, the kind we're talking about here, comes from being rejected and still standing tall. So how do you turn rejection into power? First, don't run from it. Expect it. Welcome it. Understand that rejection is proof you're stretching yourself. If you're never being told no, it means you're not aiming high enough. You're not risking enough. You're not putting yourself in places where growth happens. Second, detach rejection from your worth. A no to your idea, your request, or your effort is not a no to your value as a person. It's just information, nothing more. Learn to separate the two, and rejection loses its ability to crush you. Third, use rejection as fuel. Let it light a fire under you. Let it push you to prove not to them, but to yourself, that you are capable of more. Think of every rejection as a weight in the gym. Each one makes you stronger if you keep lifting. Here's a mindset you can carry. Every no brings you closer to the right yes. Every door that closes forces you to find a better door. Every person who turns you down makes room for the people who truly value you. Rejection clears the path for what's meant for you, but only if you keep walking forward. Dangerous confidence is not built by avoiding rejection. It's built by facing it head on repeatedly until no doesn't scare you anymore, until you realize rejection doesn't define you, it refines you. So the next time you hear no, don't shrink, don't retreat, stand taller. Tell yourself, good, this is my chance to grow. This is proof I'm in the arena, not sitting on the sidelines. And then keep moving forward, because the person who is no longer afraid of rejection is unstoppable, and that person can be you. Detach from outcomes. One of the strongest moves you'll ever make in life is learning to let go of the outcome. Most people tie their entire sense of worth to results. If things go well, they feel good. If things fall apart, they feel broken. Their emotions rise and fall like a roller coaster because they're attached to what happens next. But confidence, real dangerous confidence, comes when you learn to detach from outcomes and anchor yourself in who you are, not what happens. Think about it. How many times have you held back from taking action because you were afraid it wouldn't work out? You didn't apply for the job because you feared rejection. You didn't speak up because you worried about how people might react. You didn't take the risk because you were obsessed with the possibility of failure. That's attachment to outcome. It keeps you paralyzed, controlled by fear of what might or might not happen. But when you detach, something changes. You stop obsessing about whether people will like it, accept it, or applaud it. You give your best effort and let the results take care of themselves. That's where freedom lies. That's where you unlock a level of confidence most people never experience. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you don't try. It means you stop chaining your identity to the result. You focus on what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your preparation, and you release the rest. The outcome is feedback, not definition. Think of the athlete who trains for months but knows they can't control the referee, the weather, or the opponent's performance. All they can control is how prepared they are, how much effort they bring, and how focused they stay. That's detachment. They give everything, but their self-worth isn't destroyed if the scoreboard doesn't go their way. They live to fight again. When you detach from outcomes, you also become harder to manipulate. People can't dangle rewards in front of you to control your actions. They can't threaten you with loss to make you desperate. You are free because you've already decided. Your value isn't tied to winning or losing, gaining or losing, being praised or being rejected. Here's a powerful truth. The more you cling, the weaker you feel. The more you need something to happen a certain way, the more anxious and insecure you become. But the moment you let go, the moment you say, "Whatever happens, I'll be fine," you gain strength. You act with more calm, more focus, more certainty. And ironically, that's usually when you perform your best, because you're no longer strangled by fear of the result. So how do you practice this? Start by shifting your language. Instead of saying, "I have to win," say, "I'll give my best, and whatever happens, I'll learn." Instead of saying, "I need them to like me," say, "I'll show up as myself, and the right people will respect that." Small shifts in language remind your mind that your value is not tied to the outcome. Next, focus on process over result. Build habits, routines, and standards that you control. If you want confidence in your work, don't obsess about the final product alone. Focus on doing the work consistently. If you want confidence in relationships, don't obsess over how others respond. Focus on showing up with authenticity and honesty. When you build your confidence on process, outcomes become secondary. And finally, remind yourself of this: you've survived every bad outcome in your life so far. Every failure, every disappointment, every rejection. You're still here, stronger, wiser, sharper. That's proof you don't need perfect results to be okay. You just need resilience. Dangerous confidence doesn't come from controlling outcomes. It comes from controlling yourself and trusting that whatever the result, you'll adapt, you'll grow, and you'll keep moving forward. So stop gripping so tightly. Give your best, stay true to yourself, and then let the outcome go. Because the moment you detach from results, you step into a new kind of freedom, the kind of confidence that nothing and no one can shake. Set boundaries without apology. Confidence is not only about how you carry yourself in public, it's also about how you protect yourself in private. One of the clearest signs of true confidence is the ability to set boundaries and hold them without apology, without guilt, and without flinching. Boundaries are not walls. They are lines that protect your time, your energy, and your self-respect. And if you don't set them, the world will gladly run right over you. Here's the reality: people will always take as much as you allow. If you give unlimited time, they'll take it. If you let them interrupt you, they'll keep doing it. If you never say no, they'll expect yes forever. That's not because people are always cruel. It's because human nature pushes against limits. And if you don't have limits, you'll always feel drained, resentful, and powerless. Confidence means you know your value. And when you know your value, you protect it. You don't throw your time away on things that don't matter. You don't allow toxic people to drain you. You don't keep saying yes when you know inside your answer should be no. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. It proves that you respect yourself enough to protect your peace. Think about how many times you've said yes just to avoid conflict. Maybe you agreed to plans you didn't want, took on work you couldn't handle, or allowed someone to speak to you in a way that made you feel small. Each time you did, a little piece of your confidence weakened, not because of what they did, but because of what you allowed. Confidence grows when you decide, this is where I draw the line, and here's the key: you don't need to justify your boundaries. Too often people over-explain. They say, I'm sorry, I can't because, followed by a long list of reasons. But the truth is, no is a complete sentence. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. I've decided not to do that. Short, calm, and unapologetic. That's strength. That's clarity. At first, setting boundaries feels uncomfortable. You'll feel guilty. You'll worry people will think you're cold or unkind. But over time, you'll realize something important. People actually respect you more when you have boundaries. They may not always like it in the moment, but they learn to take you seriously. They see that you are not easily manipulated, not desperate for approval, not willing to sell your peace for temporary comfort. And here's the bonus: the right people, the ones who genuinely care about you, will respect your boundaries. They'll honor them, they'll even admire them. It's the wrong people, the ones who want to take advantage, who will be upset. So, when someone gets angry at your boundary, take it as confirmation that the boundary was necessary. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about protecting your space so you can give your best to the things that truly matter. You can't pour into your goals, your dreams, or your relationships if you're constantly drained from saying yes to everything else. Boundaries are not selfish, they're essential. So how do you start? Begin with one simple area of your life where you feel resentment. That resentment is a signal that a boundary is missing. Maybe it's a coworker who keeps dumping extra work on you. Maybe it's a friend who takes more than they give. Maybe it's your own habit of overcommitting. Wherever you feel that tension, that's where a boundary is needed. Decide your line, then enforce it calmly. Confidence is not about pleasing everyone. It's about living with integrity to yourself. And integrity means protecting what matters even when others don't understand. Dangerous confidence is when you can say no without shaking, when you can hold your ground without guilt, when you can protect your energy like it's the most valuable resource you own, because it is. So set your boundaries, hold them firm, and never apologize for respecting yourself. Because once you master that, you'll discover that real confidence doesn't just come from what you say yes to. It comes from the power of what you refuse to accept. Stand calm in chaos. Confidence isn't truly tested when things are going well. Anyone can look composed when life is smooth, when the plan is working, and when nothing unexpected shows up. But the real measure of confidence is how you carry yourself when chaos strikes, when the room gets loud, when people panic, when everything seems uncertain. That's when true confidence either collapses or shines. Most people fall apart in chaos. They rush. They panic. They overreact. Their emotions take control, and they make poor decisions because they're desperate to fix everything at once. But the ones who stand out, the ones who earn respect without even trying, are those who stay calm. They slow down when everyone else speeds up. They breathe when everyone else holds their breath. They keep their voice steady when everyone else is shouting. That calmness is rare, and that's what makes it powerful. Think about how you feel around someone who stays composed in stressful situations. You feel safer. You feel like things will be okay, even if they aren't yet. Their calm transfers to you. That's the power of presence, and the good news is you can train yourself to become that person. It starts with recognizing that chaos itself doesn't break people. Their reaction to chaos does. The event might be messy, the challenge might be tough, but it's your response that decides whether you crumble or rise. If you allow yourself to get swept up in the storm, you lose control. But if you anchor yourself in calm, you take control back. So how do you do it? Begin with your breathing. When chaos hits, your body's natural instinct is to tense up. Breathe shallow and prepare for fight or flight. That's when you must take control of your breath. Slow, steady breathing tells your body, I am not in danger. I am in control. That one small act creates space between the chaos and your reaction. Next, manage your pace. In stressful situations, people tend to rush as if speed will solve everything. But rushing often leads to mistakes, and mistakes create more chaos. The confident person doesn't hurry. They move deliberately with clarity. Their pace communicates, I am steady, I am not rattled. Then keep your voice low and calm. Chaos feeds off noise. If you match that noise with panic, you add fuel to the fire. But if you speak slower, softer, more grounded, people listen. You instantly shift the energy. Even if you don't have all the answers, your calm tone reassures others and positions you as someone to trust. Standing calm in chaos is not about pretending nothing is wrong. It's about refusing to let the chaos own you. It's about keeping your center when everything around you tries to pull you off balance. And when you do this consistently, people begin to notice. They see you as reliable. They see you as strong. They see you as a leader, even if you never asked for the role. But here's the deeper truth. Staying calm in chaos isn't just for others. It's for you. Because every time you stay grounded when life gets messy, you remind yourself of your own strength. You prove to yourself that storms don't break you, they reveal you. And that proof builds a confidence that lasts far beyond the moment. So, the next time life throws chaos your way, and it will, pause, breathe, slow down, anchor yourself. Decide in that moment that you will not be another panicked voice in the storm. You will be the calm in the room. Because dangerous confidence doesn't scream in chaos. It doesn't run. It doesn't collapse. It stands tall, steady, and calm, no matter how loud the storm gets. And when you master that, nothing in this world can truly shake you. Train until skill becomes certainty. Confidence isn't magic. It doesn't appear out of thin air. It isn't just a mindset or a positive affirmation whispered in the mirror. Real, lasting confidence is built on something much deeper: competence. When you know you've put in the work, when you've trained yourself until a skill becomes second nature, you stop hoping you're good enough and start knowing you are. That shift from doubt to certainty is where dangerous confidence is born. Think about anything you've ever mastered, big or small. Maybe it was learning to drive, cooking a dish, or speaking in front of a group. At first, you were nervous. You questioned yourself, but the more you practiced, the smoother it became. And one day, what once felt terrifying started to feel natural. That's the power of training. Repetition turns fear into familiarity. Most people want confidence without putting in the reps. They want to feel certain before they've earned certainty. But it doesn't work that way. You don't wait to feel confident in order to act. You act again and again until your actions create confidence. The truth is, skill builds belief. Every time you show up, every time you practice, every time you push through mistakes, you carve confidence into your bones. And here's the key: it's not just about practicing, it's about practicing with intention. Half effort doesn't build confidence. Going through the motions doesn't create mastery. You have to push yourself past easy comfort. You have to stretch your limits. Because when you know you've trained harder, longer, and sharper than most people ever will, you walk into any room differently. You don't have to brag about it. You don't have to convince anyone. The certainty shows in how you move, how you speak, how you carry yourself. Think of a professional athlete stepping onto the field. They don't stand there wondering if they can do it. They've already trained for it 1,000 times. The repetition has built muscle memory. Their body knows what to do. Their mind knows they can handle the pressure. That's what training gives you, certainty that no one can take away. Now, imagine applying that same principle to your own life, to your career, to your communication, to your relationships. Imagine putting in the kind of practice where your skills are so sharp, you no longer question yourself. You just perform. That's the kind of quiet power that people feel without you having to announce it. So how do you start? First, identify the areas where doubt holds you back. Is it speaking with confidence? Is it leading others? Is it staying calm under pressure? Then commit to training that skill deliberately. Read, study, practice, and repeat until it becomes second nature. And don't quit when it feels uncomfortable. That's the sign you're actually growing. Second, embrace mistakes as part of the process. Every stumble is a lesson. Every failure is practice. Confidence isn't the absence of mistakes. It's the ability to keep going until those mistakes no longer control you. Third, measure your progress. Look back every few weeks and notice how far you've come. Confidence grows when you can see your own improvement. When you realize that what once scared you is now routine, something inside you shifts permanently. Here's the beauty of this approach. No one can take away what you've trained for. Compliments may fade. Approval may vanish, but skill, that stays with you, and skill builds certainty. Dangerous confidence isn't about puffing up your chest or pretending you're fearless. It's about doing the work behind the scenes until you can step forward with calm assurance, until you don't have to tell yourself, "I think I can." Instead, you say, "I know I can." Train until the skill becomes certainty, because once you reach that point, you'll discover that true confidence doesn't need to be loud. It's steady, unshakable, and undeniable, and it comes from one thing: knowing you've earned it. Live as if you need nothing. The ultimate level of confidence is when you live as if you need nothing, not because you don't enjoy success, recognition, or relationships, but because you're not dependent on them. When your sense of worth, your peace, and your identity no longer hinge on what others give or take away, you step into a freedom most people never experience. Most people live in constant need. They need approval to feel secure. They need attention to feel important. They need results to feel proud of themselves. And because they need, they chase. They chase validation. They chase applause. They chase things that slip through their hands the moment they grasp them. And the more they chase, the weaker they feel. But imagine walking through life without that hunger for approval. Imagine pursuing your goals not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose them as an expression of who you already are. Imagine enjoying success, but not being defined by it. Imagine having relationships built on choice, not desperation. That's what it means to live as if you need nothing. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you isolate yourself or reject good things. It means you build yourself up so strongly on the inside that you don't crumble if those things disappear. You carry your own validation, your own peace, your own power. That's what makes you dangerous, because no one can use need against you. Think about it. When someone desperately needs approval, they can be manipulated. When someone desperately needs money, they can be bought. When someone desperately needs love, they will settle for less than they deserve. Need is weakness. But when you move as if you already have everything you need within yourself, you cannot be controlled. You cannot be bribed. You cannot be broken. This is the mindset of the strongest leaders, the most unshakable people. They enjoy success, but they're not enslaved by it. They enjoy relationships, but they're not defined by them. They enjoy progress, but they don't collapse if they face setbacks. Their identity isn't tied to outcomes, approval, or possessions. Their confidence flows from within, not from outside. So how do you start living as if you need nothing? Begin by shifting your focus inward. Instead of asking, "What can people give me?" ask, "What can I give myself?" Respect, discipline, purpose. These are things no one can hand you, but you can build them daily. The more you provide for yourself, the less you crave from others. Next, practice gratitude. When you're grateful for what you already have, you stop obsessing over what you lack. Gratitude kills desperation. It reminds you that you're already rich in ways that matter, in lessons, in growth, in resilience. And finally, remind yourself that everything external is temporary. Money can be lost. Applause fades. People come and go. But who you are, what you stand for, and how you carry yourself, that's permanent. Build your foundation on that, and you'll never fear loss. Living as if you need nothing doesn't make you cold. In fact, it makes you more magnetic. People are drawn to those who don't beg for attention, who don't cling, who don't try too hard. Why? Because neediness repels, but strength attracts. The person who doesn't need anything carries an aura of abundance, and abundance is irresistible. This is the final stage of confidence, when you no longer chase approval, when you no longer fear rejection, when you no longer need validation. You are free. You act out of choice, not out of desperation. You give because you want to, not because you're hoping to get something back. You love because it's real, not because you're empty. Live as if you need nothing, because when you do, you will walk with a calmness that others envy, a certainty that others respect, and a power that nothing in this world can take away. That is dangerous confidence at its peak. Confidence is not about shouting louder than the rest of the world. It's not about forcing people to notice you, chasing approval, or pretending to be someone you're not. Confidence is calm, it's steady, it's the kind of presence that doesn't need to prove itself because it already knows its own value. And the most dangerous form of confidence, the kind this experience has been guiding you toward, comes from one simple truth. You react to nothing, and therefore nothing controls you. Over these chapters, we've walked through the principles that build that kind of unshakable self-belief. You've learned how to stop explaining yourself, how to master your inner voice, how to build respect before confidence, and how to kill the need for approval. You've discovered the power of silence, the authority of body language, and the shift from reacting to leading. You've been reminded that discomfort is where growth lies, that speaking less commands more, and that rejection can become your fuel. You've seen the strength in detaching from outcomes, setting boundaries without apology, standing calm in chaos, and training until skill becomes certainty. And finally, you've been shown the ultimate level of confidence, living as if you need nothing. This journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about building yourself day by day into someone who no longer bends to every opinion, who no longer crumbles under pressure, who no longer waits for permission to step into their own power. True confidence is quiet, but it's undeniable. It doesn't need to announce itself because it's written in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you carry yourself through the storms of life. So take these lessons and live them. Don't just understand them in theory. Apply them. Use them in conversations, in challenges, in the moments when life tries to shake you. And remember, this is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the strongest version of yourself. Because when you learn to react to nothing, you gain control over everything. You become untouchable. You become steady in a world full of noise. You become a person others can't ignore, not because you demand attention, but because your presence itself commands it. That is the power of dangerous confidence, and it's already inside you, waiting to be claimed. Now go out and live it.